Hi, my name's Jennifer Luarca, and this very short video is going to go through some ways you can maximize study time with your peers so that you can be efficient and effective as you prepare for finals. First, I want you to think about studying with peers as a three-part process. There's preparation that you need to do as an individual before you can get in with a group and study. Then there's things you can do as you study or as you prepare to study with your group that will maximize that time you have together. And then finally, there are activities or ways to study with your peers when you are in your study groups that can really help all of you get the most out of those study sessions. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about preparing for successful study sessions. We want to make sure that you are a positive, effective resource for your peers and that you are getting as much as you possibly can out of the group work that you're going to do as you prepare for finals. That requires that you really build up your foundational skills and you start to work on understanding core concepts of the class so that you can be effective as you either help others understand or help yourself process information. So what we want to do is, in preparation for group study, we want to go back and review previous content. That might mean you use old quizzes, old exams. Definitely start looking at the notes, go through chapter reviews, and just make sure that you're brushing up on those foundations, that you have that foundation really strong so that you can go into these study sessions and break concepts down for others. Now, you may not have a cumulative final exam, but that doesn't mean that previous concepts aren't really, really important to understanding the last part of the concepts that you learned in class. So even though you may not be quizzed directly on or tested directly on that old content, you still need to know it because likely it's laid a foundation for the current concepts that you're learning. So we want to be able to understand those connections, understand that content so that we can break concepts down for ourselves and others within the study groups. This also will allow you to identify weak points in your knowledge base, which will help you ask for help, right? We don't want to ask for help on everything because we know some concepts better than others. Doing a quick review of old content will help you understand what you know well versus what you don't know well. Then you need to know your schedule. So we don't want to be flaky group members. We've all worked with those people before. And a big part of that is knowing your schedule the last 4 weeks of the semester as we head into finals. So we want to be able to share our schedule with others, whether we're keeping our Microsoft Outlook really up to date or we're using another way to keep and share schedules. We want to make sure that that's cleaned up, that we're offering times that we truly are available to our peers. And this also will help you not overcommit to activities and study groups. Remember, you do need individual study time. You need to be able to prepare effectively for study groups for them to work well. And so you need to know your schedule and you need to not say yes to everything, right? We need that balance. And we want to say to our peers when they ask if we want to study, say, let me check my schedule and I'll get back to you, right? Now, we want to make sure that within these sessions, we're sharing appropriately. We can definitely share our notes, resources, create shared docs in Google. That's a great way to start to prepare and share information with peers. One thing I see a lot of students do that I think is really helpful is breaking down the study guide and teaching each other concepts. So you could say, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for these first 5 concepts and so on, break it up that way. And when you meet in your groups, you teach each other, right? And you share and you test one another on those concepts. And then also we want to make sure that the tools we're creating are collaborative. That's one reason why Google Docs is so nice is we can all have input. We can add examples, we can add illustration, we can add all of those things that help illuminate and make the concepts more accessible and understandable to a wider audience. Now, once we've prepared and we've shared in that preparation and we've created our study tools, now's the time to get together with our peers and actually practice and learn concepts, right? So the practice is a chance for us to engage with one another, The best study sessions are those that allow you time to verbalize information. So you get a chance to try to explain concepts, to try to teach others concepts, and vice versa. So our study groups, we don't want to be one directional where one person's really just giving information to everybody else. That's not helpful for everybody, and it's very passive for the people who aren't interacting. We want to make sure that each person is taking charge, having a chance to speak, having a chance to practice. And some ways you can do this is, of course, test one another, take turns teaching concepts. We can all work on predicting exam questions. So like I said in the last slide, if you are breaking up that study guide, we want to be able to get to a point where we can teach the concept well with using examples, and then maybe even have a few test questions that we develop so that we can ask one another questions that we think might be on the exam, right? And then we want to make sure that we're completing our study guides, that we're including examples in those study guides, and that for each study session, we're setting really clear goals. So that's another thing when we're thinking about planning our study time is we want to break up concepts and set study goals for those sessions. So, this week, Monday, we're going to study these two concepts in depth, right? And these are the people that are going to be in charge of working with that content, and the rest of us be ready to engage and answer questions and ask questions of those people, right? So that's a way that you can break it up, put different people in charge of practicing and engaging others in the content. So overall, it's going to be really, really critical that you share responsibility in your group study sessions, that you engage everybody. Everybody gets a chance to speak. Everybody gets a chance to practice. That you're using shared documents as much as possible. And then I want to point out right here on this little Post-it at the top, is there are a lot of online tools available for you to practice this. So you can definitely do this in Zoom, setting up Zoom sessions to share with one another. I know in Zoom there are functions like the whiteboard, like polling questions, so you can really set it up as a very solid study session that allows interaction. Same with Google Teams. It just depends on what platform you like, but both offer chances to use whiteboards and ask questions of one another in different formats. And then Quizlets is also a great tool if you are breaking up that study guide and you want to work on developing study questions. You guys could all be working on the same Quizlet together, which could be really helpful because that's something you can use later as you're doing independent study as well. So that's it for me, super quick, but I hope this gives you an idea of how you can start to prepare for peer study as we inch towards finals. Again, my name is Jennifer Luarca. I'm an academic coach at the Learning Center, and if you're interested in getting more help or direction, I'm happy to meet with you or your group and help you arrange this. You can schedule for free with me through the Beach Connect Chicklet on your single sign-on. Thanks, and I hope to hear from you soon.